We ready? We are ready. Good morning. Welcome. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here, wrong notes, just kidding. However, we are here for a very exciting purpose. Welcome to our press event at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we are going to do some education and announce the greening and our greening efforts of our campus in order to celebrate our hard work and long road to get here, and to challenge our neighbors, our neighboring churches and other institutions to take advantage of some of the same tools that we've learned about and can help mentor through to do some similar greening of your campuses. We will have a series of speakers today who are the experts on their topics, and time for some questions afterwards. I'll go ahead and tell you the order of our speakers. We encourage you to tweet, share, record, clap. We'll push this out far and wide. I don't see a whole lot of media cameras in the room, but lots of press outlets will use the materials that we will send afterwards. So please speak as though you're on camera, because you will be. And we are live casting, right? All right, we are live streaming, excuse me. So just so you know, our order of speakers will be Reverend Dr. Colin Bosson, followed by Council Member Carolyn Evans Shabazz, Steve Stelzer, Nick Hadji George, Marina Kritikos, and Ron Cookston. And I'll say those again before they each speak. But welcome, and thank you all so much for coming and bringing your good renewable energy that runs on coffee and all the things we got here on. Again, I'm in case I didn't say it, I'm Becky Smith. I'm a proud member of our congregation here, part of the Climate Action Team, and also the State Director for Clean Water Action and Clean Water Fund. Let me bring up Reverend Dr. Colin Bosson.
So I'm the Reverend Dr. Colin Bosson, Senior Minister of the congregation, and I want to begin again by welcoming you and thanking you for joining with us on this occasion. I also want to offer a word of thanks to people on our climate action team, like Becky, folks like Nancy Edwards, who's here with us this morning and a longtime member of the congregation, and our board and board president, Ron Cookston, who've made a really dedicated effort to green our campus. It's really wonderful to be able to serve a congregation with people who are so devoted to making the world a better place and to living out our ecological values. I've been asked to speak a little bit about our theological values and why they call us to green our campus. So Unitarian Universalism is a this-worldly religion. And for members of our congregation, the installation of solar panels and our efforts to green our campus are a profoundly religious act. Let me explain. Unitarian Universalism is a this-worldly religion. We recognize that across human history, there has been and continues to be a great diversity of beliefs about the nature of the divine, what happens after death, and whether or not this world is our only home. Rather than firmly asserting one set of beliefs to be true, we celebrate diversity and embrace theological pluralism. We organize our communities around the work of widening love's circle. We invite all who wish to join with us in the great task of building what Martin Luther King Jr. named the beloved community, the vision of the human family whole, reconciled, and living in balance with all being. Since we are here now, living on this beautiful green-blue ball of a planet we call Earth, this includes a commitment to address the climate crisis. The seventh principle of our Unitarian Universalist Association calls us to have respect for the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part. This is a religious statement if there ever was one. The word religion comes from the Latin reliare, which means to tie, to bind. And in this sense, religion is literally what binds us together. As earthly creatures on an earthly planet, we are bound together by the water we drink, the air we breathe, the soil we till, the plants we eat, and the animals we raise. What impacts one impacts all. For the water cycle, the carbon cycle, the cycles of life mean that the very matter that compose my body is directly connected to yours. Warming temperatures, rising oceans, decreasing air quality affect everyone and bind us together, hold us all as part of the great family of all souls, connect us religiously. So in this way, First Unitarian Universalist decision to go solar is a religious act. It is a way we recognize that in a moment of profound climate crisis, when action is urgently needed to ensure that the planet does not warm beyond what is truly habitable, that religious communities must be moral leaders in addressing the ecological catastrophe before us. It is a way we celebrate our connection to all. We are all bound up together. And that if we do celebrate that connection, we are then charged to act in care for all being. The installation of solar panels is a meaningful expression of that care. It reduces the carbon footprint of our campus and demonstrates a commitment to care for the great web of being of which we are each a part and which binds us together. So thank you for being here on this occasion. And I will now turn things over to Becky, who will introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Bosson. We are thrilled to have with us Houston City Council member Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, who will talk to us, I believe, about the history of the funding program that we use to go solar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Becky. I am Councilmember Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, a council member for District D, what I call the District of Destination. And I am so very honored to serve in that capacity. She said that she was going to have experts that are talking about what they do. I don't consider myself to be an expert. I do enjoy what I do, and I consider it to be my calling. But certainly, expert, no. I don't know of anybody that can really make that testament. But certainly, I know that I am in a room of people who are very, very important in this project, and I will leave that information for them to convey. But certainly, I think I saw Mr. Sunnyside Solar Farm, Ephraim Jernigan, in here, who I have worked with for a long, long time, and he's doing such a tremendous job and making a tremendous impact, certainly in the Sunnyside community, and it's always a pleasure for him to be here. But certainly, I am the proud representative of District D, and I'm thrilled to see this transformative initiative taking root right here in our community. And the work done here at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston exemplifies our shared commitment to sustainability and reflects the core values of our great city. And this is a sidebar. I'm a fan. I adore Dr. Ruth Hoffman-Lack. She's a member here, and if Dr. Ruth says, I need you to be here, then I'm going to be here. I'm sorry that she couldn't be here, but certainly she has been such a tremendous partner in so many endeavors. I am currently the second vice president of the NAACP Houston branch, and when she and I first became friends, I was actually the education chair, and you know, that is her baby, education and trying to help our students to be able to matriculate and to help our minds to be able to do those things that keep us grounded. And so she's certainly missed here, but we'll get together at another time. I did see her wonderful husband here, and so it's always a pleasure. So the greening of the church building is not just an upgrade to a facility. It's a bold step forward in our collective journey towards a more sustainable and resilient Houston. This project serves as a shining example of how faith communities can lead by setting ambitious environmental standards that benefit us all by reducing our carbon footprint and enhancing our quality of life. And so if I could, I would like to present this proclamation. I'm going to be honest with you, don't open it. My staff kind of dropped the ball, but I certainly wanted to make sure that we can commemorate this with a recognition from District D, and he will either get it to me before I leave the building, or certainly will get it back to you. But this is so worthy of recognition that I certainly would be remiss if I did not present it. And so who would be the person to come up and take this picture? And And I have the pleasure of sitting next to him, and he's giving me the 411 on everything and everybody, because I believe he's the person that's in the know. But certainly, I do appreciate it, and this it will be signed, and the recognition will be on this day. And certainly, this is a wonderful occasion, and I'm so very honored that you all asked me to be a part of it. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to take the stairs. Y'all can jump right on down. Over here, I'm going to take the rail. That's right.
Councilmember Evan Shabazz, what an honor. Thank you so much for the recognition, the official recognition today. Next up, we're going to hear from our friend and yours, Steve Stelzer, who is the president of the board of the Citizens Environmental Coalition, and I'll let you give a little background on CEC, though I know and love them myself. Steve Stelzer.
Thanks so much for inviting me. So the Citizens Environmental Coalition has been around for a long time, 50 plus years. They're kind of an umbrella environmental organization. I like to say that it's Google doesn't do what we do. You can go to our website and see over 100 environmental organizations, and we keep up with their events. And we also have green jobs. It's amazing to hear people in the environmental realm who say, I got my job from looking at a posting on your green jobs page. So there is a realm of environmentalists in Houston, Texas, and you can go to cechouston.org and see what we're talking about. We don't have a bio personally that we're cleaning up, but there are organizations that absolutely do that. And so we try to represent all the different kind of categories. We started going through trying to come up with how many categories are there that our member organizations can fit in, and it's so large that we're going to have to get really creative to have kind of like, a manageable number of categories, okay? They're all there. And of course we have our climate kind of action type groups, and I'm kind of one of them. And I'm late of the city, so it's good to see these city people here. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and I still, I came on board when Mayor Bill White was mayor, and the next thing you know, we had solar panels in the city, and it was fantastic. Then we went ahead and constructed the Houston Permitting Center out of a 1922 vintage warehouse. Thank you very much. In Houston, that's a tiny bit rare. In that same year, they constructed the Julia Idison Library, and that is a masterpiece, and that's also LEED certified. So the city's really been doing some pretty cool things, and I'm pretty pleased. Then in 2012, we got a grant to put solar panels on the Permitting Center roof. So I can't wait until Google Maps and Google Earth will show your solar panels. I'm so impressed. You also got the benefit of having modern solar panels that have a lot more power creation, which is really good. One of the other very cool things that the city has done is initiated a benchmarking policy within the city to be managing how much energy they're using. And so I heartily recommend, you probably are already doing this, okay? But if not, Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Get this building on Energy Star Portfolio Manager. They're coming out with a residential version. You can talk to your congregation about getting their homes on Energy Star Portfolio Manager. And when you start, if we're going to just talk, greenhouse gas emissions, building operations is a quarter, okay? So we aren't recycling our way out of this, but, we can use less energy. And step number one, thank you very much. Well, maybe not step one, but one of the steps is getting solar panels. So you might have a dashboard so your congregation could see how much energy you're saving. That's pretty good. Anyway, hey, I could stand up here and come up with all kinds of great ideas for you to do. Anyway, I think I talked my limit. All right. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be in such big company with the CEC, and the city's leadership recently retired, I understand. Congratulations. We would be remiss, and perhaps our board president, Ron Cookston, will mention some of the additional efforts that we made in addition to the really super sexy headline of solar panels. The other measures we took to green the campus, including more humble revisions like our light bulb changing out that are, of course, immense energy savers, helping to, we've sealed up entrances, to the outside exits and entrances to the church to prevent air conditioning loss, replaced our outdated air conditioning units. Ron perhaps will go on. So it's not all quite as bold and beautiful, but it's all just as important and all rolled into the funding package that Ron will address. Let us hear next from our city's interim chief officer of the Resilience and Sustainability Office, Mr. Nick Hadji-George.
Thank you all. My name is Nick Hadji-George, and I'm the City of Houston's Interim Chief Resilience and Sustainability Officer. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. I also want to thank the elected officials, Councilmember Carolyn Evelyn Shabazz for her attendance, and also the Texas PACE Authority, as well as the First Unitarian Universalist Church for hosting this event. We are here to celebrate the First Unitarian Universalist Church's completion of their rooftop solar project. So let's give it a round of applause. This project was made possible through the unique financing opportunities that Houston's PACE program enables for private sector building owners. This program goes back all the way to 2013, and since 2015, when the City of Houston adopted a PACE program, and also through the great partnership that we've had with the Texas PACE Authority, we've completed 10 projects, invested millions of dollars, saved countless amounts of energy and water, reduced our greenhouse gas emissions, and also we've installed a large amount of distributed generation, and AKA solar panels. And distributed generation is what excites me about the project we're here to celebrate today. Rooftop solar is important not only because it provides clean power and energy savings for this church, it can also help the state's electric grid during times of extreme demand, as well as providing on-site power when an outage does occur here. I want to mention two things that the City of Houston has done to help facilitate the proliferation of solar power in Houston, and they relate to the two main problems that we hear about when it comes to solar panels. They're too expensive and the permitting process is cumbersome. So to address that, the City of Houston has implemented a pilot project called Solar App, which is an alternative way to get your solar panels permitted. It speeds up the process, makes it a lot easier, and it's in partnership with the federal government to really just make it as easy as possible. It's, electric work is not simple, and we're trying to do our best to simplify it. The other thing that we've done, which is our partnership with Solar Switch Houston and Solar United Neighbors, which is a group buy project to help bring down the cost of solar panels and, They are expensive, but through these kinds of initiatives, we can promote ways to bring the cost down so that they become more affordable. And there's also a lot of federal opportunities, federal funding grants that we are taking advantage of to help bring this cost down as well. And, you know, why are we interested in solar? Well, Houston is a great place for rooftop solar. Steve mentioned Google. I looked at Google's rooftop solar dashboard, and it shows that we have as much as 36 square miles of rooftop real estate across the city that's suitable for solar generation. That can mean more than 10 gigawatts of clean energy generated right here in Houston. So that's a huge potential for us to play our part in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, cleaning our electric grid, and also becoming more resilient in the face of ever-increasing climate risks and weather events. So I encourage all private sector owners of commercial, industrial, and multifamily residential properties to explore PACE as an option to help unlock their rooftop solar potential and a whole host of other energy efficiency improvements that you'll hear about that were part of this project and all the other PACE projects as well. These improvements will help building owners save money and contribute to our region's climate action goals. So once again, congratulations to the First Unitarian Universalist Church and the Texas PACE Authority for completing this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. That's 36 miles, huh? So I wonder how many miles we have up here. We got work to do. Work to do, folks. We'd like to bring up Marina Kritikos from the Texas PACE Authority to address us next. I'm sure we're going to learn some more about a funding mechanism and more. Thanks, Marina.
Great, thanks so much, Paige. Good morning, everyone. I'm so thrilled and thank you all for coming out today. I'm really excited to be here on behalf of Texas PACE Authority, where I serve as a senior program advisor, to really celebrate this milestone with the First Unitarian Universalist Church. As Nick mentioned, the PACE program was state-enabled in 2013 and is adopted at the regional level to serve as an economic development tool to help provide affordable private capital to businesses as well as nonprofits to help develop properties, repurpose buildings with energy and water savings measures that help to reduce operating costs and to create jobs. So PACE can be used to finance and purchase, as well as the installation, all of the hard and the soft costs of improvements that decrease energy or water usage or generate power on site. The PACE projects are financed by low-cost private capital through a voluntary assessment which runs with the land, is non-escalating, non-recourse, and is paid back over time with terms of up to 20 years or more. So the Texas PACE Authority serves as the program administrator for the City of Houston's program, and we work on behalf of local governments across the state to administer uniform industrial and commercial PACE programs in nearly 100 regions and counting across Texas. So as Nick mentioned, the City of Houston adopted the program in 2015, and PACE has been used for a myriad of projects in the commercial as well as private sector. And we are so thrilled that this House of Worship is the latest entity to leverage this financing mechanism in a way to help improve the facility here. And as we've heard, the ability to access this financing for this facility enabled the solar panels, which are the big things that everybody's really excited about. But what you're probably going to feel and helps you to see a little bit better are the LED lights that Paige mentioned, the upgraded air conditioning system, as well as that tightened building envelope, which is going to lend to the comfort of all of those who are in the space. And the goal of really all of this is to help the church not only meet its environmental stewardship goals, but really then to be able to redirect some funds from their operating budget to its core mission. But also, all of this work, as Nick said, is helping the City of Houston to meet its climate action goals. So the Texas PACE Authority truly is honored to be a part of this process, and thank you to the First Unitarian Universalist Church for setting such a great example of environmental stewardship for all Houstonians. Thank you. Paige.
Thank you, Marina. We'll hear finally from our board president, Mr. Ron Cookston.
I'm here not so much to talk about all the good things we have done, but I'm here to say to you that this is an example of what any not-for-profit and/or business and/or person in their home can do. And so I want to give you a sense of a few of our milestones that may help you think about where you might want to go. Our effort started in 2015 because a member of the church, Nancy, we've mentioned her, Nancy Edwards, kept standing up and saying, hey guys, we need to do something to reduce our carbon footprint. Staff. So the notion of a persistent person standing up in a business or in a home or wherever can make a great difference. And then we started doing what we could do. Didn't have much of a budget at the time, but we could certainly start replacing our light bulbs every time they went out with LED light bulbs. Over time, that became a mission, and every light bulb in this building, fluorescent or otherwise, is now cost-effective and efficient. He doesn't want me to say it, but in our case, that happened because of a volunteer, Mr. Morrison, that stood up and said, I can get that done. Of course, we're a church, so we had to form a committee. And that committee looked at alternatives that were available to us at the time. And that's how we discovered the Texas Space Authority. We are doing this for great theological reasons. But folks, I need to tell you that we are doing this also because using what we have been paying on electricity over the next 20 years, we're able to do this and in fact produce a savings for this church of $700,000. And that's not to deny our motive, but it's to recognize that this economically can be done. When the committee formed and we started looking around, we found out that we could talk to Dory Wolf, and Dory came in and did an assessment and said, hey, you can do this. And she said, and oh, by the way, Bay Area UU Church has already done it, and as a matter of fact, Wally's here and Carolyn are here, and I can say to you that that Unitarian Church has, in fact, sought and become a green sanctuary under that designation from our national organization called the Unitarian Universalist Association. So by moving forward, we were able to find out, what do we really need to do? At the back of this sanctuary is a window that was so energy inefficient because it was literally plastic, that one of our great savings comes from replacing that window. Sealing the doors, that's been referenced. Sealing the doors and windows were a significant part of putting this together and making it happen in terms of efficiency. In many ways, and of course it's been referenced before, we had air conditioners that were 15 years old. They were at the end of their life, but the opportunity to be able to replace them with energy efficiency air conditioning is what's getting us to this point. So we're now at a point that we can reduce our carbon footprint, and I'm going to be glad to add our energy savings as well as the CO2 reductions to the website. I also want to acknowledge that Loopy is here. Loopy, raise your hand. Loopy is here with the county, and to acknowledge that the county is also involved in this kind of effort. So the message that I want you to hear is that at this point in time, you can make a difference. The new federal regulations and new laws as a result of the environmental, the IRA, make it possible to provide a lot more in terms of cost incentives for you. We will, as a result of those regulations, be able to capture a return on investment of 30% of the cost of the solar panels. We may even, under some of those regulations, there are some programs that make that as much as 70%. Reference has been made to grants that are available that can also offset the cost of an organization to make it possible to move forward. And if you're in a home, in my home, we were able to find that by installing solar panels, we're able to cover that cost in what we would have paid for electricity. We're all going to pay for electricity. If we can use that value to increase not only our own financial benefit, but also reduce the carbon footprint in our community, then it's a real opportunity. Then it's a plus plus. It makes every bit of sense. We wanted to make sure that the Texas Pace Authority was here and recognized and the city's role in that, because that's an alternative that I've found that very few people have any idea that it exists or that you can move forward. So my message to you is make the decision to go forward. Make the decision to find the pathway that's right for you. It's going to be different for your organization or your company than maybe it was for us. But there are opportunities now that did not previously exist. And to ignore those opportunities is, I think, a failure to recognize that we've got work to do if we're going to continue to live in this world, in an environmentally safe world, and we better get about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, especially Ron. So this concludes our scheduled speakers. I have a little bit of housekeeping. We will take questions. So if folks have questions, let us know. If there's a particular speaker that would address your topic. There are refreshments and coffee because nothing happens without fellowship here in our Channing Hall here. And then for folks who would like to go we'll go to the third floor where we'll have a nice view of the solar panels that are on the roof of our second floor. Exits are this way, here, and here. And are there any questions? Yes, Lupita.
Thank you for inviting us. I was really appreciative myself. Lupita Montoya, I'm a DOE fellow with the Harris County, so I'm officially not their employee, but one of their employees is here with me, my colleague Pilar Fuentes. And we're very happy to be here to celebrate this momentous occasion. But my question is how can we reproduce this momentous occasion across the city and across the country? Because as you know, we are with the county, so it's not just Houston. And we know that communities of faith are some of those places where we have our communities coming together for good reasons. But oftentimes they're not necessarily up to date on what we need to be doing. And I really appreciated you leaders speaking about how we actualize our faith. I'm a Catholic person, and I believe this is my mission. And I'm a trained engineer. So can you put those two together? I have done it for decades. This is what I was put on this earth to do. And so I'm very, very happy. And I didn't know it was going to happen in Texas. So it can happen anywhere. I appreciate it, and another thing as a mission here to support Harris County and the transition to clean energy, how can we move some of these triumphs, this fellowship, to other faiths? How can we bring them into the fold? Because we do have that in common. And so we need to find ways to speak across, and also across aisles, across disciplines, but really understand each other. This is the time, and just last thing, for the sake of our young people. Because some of us, we're not so young anymore, and it really is about them. And we need to do our part because we already have used this earth in manners that have not been very good. So this is about us somehow paying what we owe. Thank you.
Thank you, Lupita. I'll take a quick stab at that, and maybe Ron has something to add. Again, as a member of this congregation, I recognize our responsibility to make our best efforts as an institution to generations that are coming after us, not just in this building, but in this city and the county. I'd also like to recognize Harris County for a recent big victory on the grants front from some of the federal government grants coming down the line to promote sustainability. And specifically, just this week, we're awarded one of the largest awards, I think, across the U.S. for Harris County as a leader for Houston, Harris County, and other locations in Texas to provide solar energy and solar panels to low-income environmental justice communities. And so this is another place where we see, I think, great mission work directed at communities that have been overburdened by pollution and underserved by resources historically, and a beginning and a change of course here. And so congratulations to Harris County on that big win. And then I'll simply add that my profession as a community organizer, that's my training at Clean Water Action, where we're a big strength in numbers, grassroots lobbying organization, to say that, I think Ron said it well, one person standing up at your institution, gather your strength, 1 and 2 people at a time across the aisle, across religious practices, across different types of buildings. And I would say the thing that makes it happen is the fact that there is funding. There is money for institutions to do this, and not, maybe you're super highly trained, I was not, in how to get finance to do this, and it's all out there. And so I think, sort of going forth, if you'll forgive the pun, to go preach that. There is money out there to do it and make your money back and do this right thing.
Lupe, when we were talking earlier, you said that tonight you're going to have a meeting with 14 of your community leaders around these issues. That's what we've got to do. Unitarian Universalists are not real good at proselytizing, but on this issue of communicating, it can be done. There were not resources, but there are today. And if we talk about that and we refer people to one of Steve's organizations, or we refer them to, you've got material that we gave you about United Neighbors. There are resources and people that are glad to talk with other people about how they can get going. Everybody's not going to be lucky enough to have a persistent person in their organization to carry this message. But if we are persistent in communicating the message, sooner, as time goes by, this can become I believe, this can become a real wave across our community. And at least in Houston, we can increase those miles that were to be talked about. Once upon a time, it was my understanding that the city of Houston had more miles of air conditioning than any other city in the world at one time. It's my understanding that Dubai has beat us on that. But wouldn't it be great when we can report that we have more miles of solar panels than any place else in the country? Any other questions? I hope that everybody, because we do have good coffee, it's not. we'll stay around for coffee, and if many of you may want to talk to each other about opportunities and have questions. And so I hope you'll hang around just a little bit to have those conversations. Any other questions? Great, well, let's go have some coffee now.